Now, there's been mixed reaction to the resolution by the ZANU-PF to extend President Emmerson Mnangagwa's term of office. Constitutionally, the 83-year-old leader is required to leave office in 2028 after serving 2 elected terms. Now, the ruling party wants that changed, and this move has drawn some controversy from some opposition leaders who have vowed to defend the Constitution. Let's chat now to Christopher Mutsvangwa, ZANU-PF spokesperson, about the recent developments. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. So, what does the party feel is so compelling to keep President Emmerson Mnangagwa in office?
Well, the first thing is that he hasn't completed exactly 2 terms, as has been implied in your statement. A term is actually considered as exceeding 2 years, and in the last term he didn't actually exceed 2 years. So it is not considered as a full term, but that is beside the point. The main thing is the democratic wish of the Zimbabwe people is expressed through their majority ruling party, which is ZANU-PF. It had its conference in Mutare last weekend but one, and it decided that President Mnangagwa has done a fantastic job in the last 5 years, in the last 5-6 years of his rule, completely turning around the economic fortunes of Zimbabwe, where now they are looking very much bullish, and they think he has done such a good work. Why not continue with him? And there is a feeling that come 2028, when this particular term ends, you could get another bite at the president's up to 2030. That is the feeling of the majority ruling party in Zimbabwe.
2 questions arise from that, right? There would be, of course, ordinary Zimbabweans as well. And I wonder, what is the test that the party used to make sure that this is, in fact, the wish of majority of the people in Zimbabwe? I ask this because it comes against the backdrop of some reports, I'm sure you've seen them as well, to say that there are some dissenting voices within the very party that you are part of.
No, well, if they are dissenting voices, we definitely did not see them at the conference. It was there were more than 4,000 delegates attending that party conference last week in Mutare. It is a grassroots party. Remember, we're a liberation movement. We start from the grassroots with structures of the party, going from the cells to the branches to the districts, to the provinces, and all the way to the top. So all the membership of the party in 10 provinces of the country, they all say that President Mnangagwa is doing a good job. He should continue, and it's perfectly within the ambit of the Zimbabwean constitution that somebody can continue if he meets the conditions of the constitution. And this is what the party is proceeding now to do, to look at the constitution so that there is complete compliance with the provisions of the Zimbabwe constitution.
So are you saying, pardon me, are you saying the party is speaking in one voice on this?
Yes, complete unanimity. There was, if there was any other voice, we didn't see it at the party conference. Definitely, it never appeared or reared its head in all the consultations of the party, from the grassroots to the top, as I've just indicated, under the organs of the party and the provincial leadership of the party.
So I've listened to what you have to say about the president, and what you say is the fact that you still want him to continue to do this work that you say he hasn't quite finished yet. Is this the party suggesting that it does not have confidence in its vice president to carry that vision forward?
Well, why would the vice president feature? If he wants to feature, he would go and declare his candidacy, and then he goes for election, and then he gets voted, or if he gets voted and he wins, well and fine. If he doesn't get voted and he loses, also well and fine. There's no particular attribute of that particular vice president to say I am the one who should be the successor to Zimbabwe. I don't know on what basis he is being proposed by those who are coming to you. If he wants, he can go to the membership of the party and stand up. It's a democratic party. His credentials are as good as mine or that of any other Zimbabwean. Why should he be of particular concern to anybody.
So let me tell you what those who have spoken out are saying should be the reasoning here, is that as the vice president, as the person who's second in charge, should then be viewed as the next natural candidate, that's what they're saying, to take over from the current president, which then for them it could signal that the party does not have confidence in him to carry the vision forward while, because some are thinking that he's in office, he sees what is happening, the work that you're talking about to say needs to be carried forward. If you don't want him to do that, some are viewing this as a lack of confidence, is it?
No, it's not that we don't want him. He can declare his candidacy. He's free. He's like, there's no provision in the Zimbabwean constitution that is the vice president is the automatic leader of the country afterwards. We go to elections. People vote in Zimbabwe for the leadership. So he needs to be voted. You are trying to annoy him. This is not a purpose in Zimbabwe. This is not cardinals in Rome, sitting in a cabal and they're deciding that this is the person who's going to be succeeding the Pope. It's a democratic country. People go for elections. If he wants, he can present his candidates for elections within the party or even outside of the party, and then he gets the test of the vote. That's what is required. This effort you're trying to have somebody be anointed for whatever reason, it is really totally against the tenets of democratic governance.
So if he did that, Mr. Mutsvangwa, do you think your political party would back him?
He wouldn't. Well, he's free, he's not the only Zimbabwean who would aspire for, but everybody who is a politician aspires to be to high office. Why the particular preoccupation of this particular person, except for the fact that some people want him to say there are surrogates who feel that he should be anointed to become the leader of Zimbabwe. This is not a purpose. This is a democratic, constitution-run country.
Yeah, and this resolution of the party, because I remember at the end of the conference, right, the ZANU-PF saying that there must be legal processes now that must start in order to ensure that this resolution of the party is carried out. How are you planning to do this?
Well, we have lawyers in Zimbabwe. We also have a parliament in Zimbabwe. We also have courts in Zimbabwe. All these institutions will be there to make sure that the provisions of the constitutions are complied with. And also, I mean, it's still an open question as to whether the president himself, when that decision comes, he will still want to become the leader of the party after 2028. It's for him to make a decision. But the party has spoken, and it has made him the offer. It's for him to say no or to say yes.
I will circle back to him in just a moment, because there's a view from some who have been watching what he's been saying in public. But I want to stay with the processes. The reason I ask you this is because there are some who are saying that if you were to take this matter to a referendum, you will lose, hands down.
Well, if the Constitution says we go to a referendum, then we'll go to a referendum, and based on the performance of the president to date, the way our economy, which was comatose 6 years ago, has come around, become the fastest growing probably in the whole of SADC. With the currency, we trade in gold and the US dollars here. We don't need to fill 1,000 forms to get US dollars, to get them in the streets. This economy has made a tremendous turnaround in infrastructure, in beneficiation of minerals, in agricultural performance. We are in our tobacco exports. Whichever tick box you choose, Mnangagwa has delivered, and there's a bullish can-do spirit within Zimbabwe right now, which even seeing our diaspora begin to identify with home, even the white diaspora, which used to be in South Africa, they are coming back home. So there's a new feeling of hope in Zimbabwe, and it's identified with the. So we are not afraid of a referendum. You will probably walk through the referendum and still get the support which is required.
All right, so staying with the president, right, you do have others who say, for example, if you think about the time, I remember when the late former President Robert Mugabe was, of course, left power, the current president said that he will not seek to tamper with the constitution. And then, of course, at some point he did say, when he was speaking to the young people, that he's a constitutionalist who will not seek to extend his term of office. Some are seeing the fact that he's not publicly denouncing what the party is saying here in terms of this resolution as him actually endorsing this extension. Is he? Can he still be seen as a constitutionalist?
Why should he denounce the feelings of the membership of the party? It's a democratic party, and people express themselves, even on the issue of who should continue to be their leader. It's a democratic expression of the people of Zimbabwe and their ruling party. Why should he be forced to be against those people? He has said himself that he will stick to the constitution, and he wrote that constitution as a lawyer. He was actually the chief drafter of that particular law. So, 2028 is not running away from the calendar of the Zimbabwe. 2028 will still be there. So why are we being stampeded to try to talk about issues of 2028 as if the date is running away? We'll see when the time comes. But for the time being, the party is happy with him. They would like him to continue because he's done a remarkable job turning around an economy which the West had tried to run down and which our neighbors had lost confidence in. So if the man, if it ain't broken, why do you want to fix it? This is the feeling of the party.
So should he decide to take you up on what you're saying and continue, can the masses still see him as the constitutionalist that he says he is, and he will not be seeking to extend his term of office because he believes in the constitution as it is? Can they still call him that? So
long as there's compliance with the Zimbabwean constitution, there's nothing wrong with him continuing. The important thing is, what does the constitution say? And that's why the party lawyers and everybody else is now working on the particular aspects. It's about compliance with the constitution of Zimbabwe issue. It will not be done outside of the constitution of Zimbabwe.
We've spoken to some analysts on the show who've expressed a concern that this is a regression, particularly as far as Zimbabwe is concerned. And then you've got opposition leaders who are saying that, again, they agree that this is a regression because they do believe that the late former President Robert Mugabe, for example, overstayed his welcome, and they are vowing that they're going to be defending the country's constitution. How are you responding to that?
Look, President Mnangagwa is saying he will comply with the constitution. ZANU-PF is saying it will comply with the constitution. If there are issues about compliance, there are courts in Zimbabwe. There is a parliament in Zimbabwe. There is also the people of Zimbabwe who can choose, who are free to express themselves in a democratic manner. So let it come to the test of the constitution of Zimbabwe. And there are ways it will be resolved. Whatever you are hearing now are opinions of certain individuals, and definitely the party has expressed its opinion about who they want to be their leader up to 2030, and that's also an opinion which is nothing wrong with the of opinions about how a country should be run.
Mr. Mutsvangwa, I appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much for talking to us. That was Christopher Mutsvangwa, the ZANU-PF spokesperson.